Just a recap, in the last video, we built a simple workflow that listens to incoming emails and then checks whether an email has a certain um, value in the header, these square brackets and then the custom ID. And if so, it would basically take the attachment from the email and upload it to the right folder as a new file. And so we've built this workflow purely by prompting the agent, which then built the workflow and didn't quite get it right. So we asked it for a little bit more. And at that point, it's pretty much finished the workflow as is. So what I said in the last session, though, is we are currently looking at this value that's inside the summary, and so a user can change that, and so that's not really a great approach. Also, anyone who sends emails basically could add data to any of the customers, which is probably not what you want. And so I propose we could instead go with a spreadsheet where we do a mapping from email addresses to folder names. And so we change the workflow only if the email address is known. We actually execute the rest of the flow. And so I've started as the previous video and did the mistake. I actually ran it under execution. So I ran it here, and this is what the agent produced. There were some other bugs. I've since fixed it up. The hope is now if I ask the agent to do that on an execution, it should tell me, no, you need to go and create a new version, which is what we're gonna do now. So, but first, because I'm lazy, I just gonna copy paste what I wrote, and then I'll read it out to you. So let's go to versions. The idea is once you have an active version that works, you don't want to make changes to it because this processes currently incoming emails. So what you do is you create a new draft and you start making changes on the new draft, and you test this out first before you activate it. Now what I basically wrote is I want to change the logic how to find where to upload files, and I mentioned I have a spreadsheet that contains a mapping, and only senders in that spreadsheet should effectively be honored. And so then I pasted the link to the spreadsheet. I can show you the spreadsheet here. I've here this is basically just the header. Michael's OCD does some nice colors here, so that's for the header, and we have two columns in this one at the moment, which is just a custom email and then the folder name that it should be uploaded to. We could choose this differently, right? This could be a link to a Google folder, which is probably partially safer, but this is easier for a user to manage. You just paste the email address and you paste the folder name, and it just works. And if you use S3 emails, it's very easy to see how that mapping works. And so we'll now go into New Dash and basically prompt the agent. Now, another mistake that I did, or not really a mistake, but another point is the chat window is basically shared across the different versions in execution. So the agent will basically know what was previously done. So let's see what happens if I apply this to a new draft. Let's see what it does. I've since also changed the prompt around the versions and execution, so I'm curious whether this even works. And so yeah, we'll see whether the agent does its magic. And so okay, it's basically say gonna apply that again. The workflow YAML is where we are storing the workflow, and you've seen it updated it already. It's reusing the same logic it's previously done. Writes the logic and then should trigger the execution again. Now, the incoming email that we have at the moment is a security alert. Thank you, Google. It's maybe we'll actually, if we delete that and we were fast enough, hopefully it picks this last one here up. We also have this copy there. Let me delete this here too. So hopefully it adds it again. Oh, there's trash. Oh, it's already executing. Okay, now we get to the same place where we were before, where you need to choose the right configuration. And so what it wants is to have access to all the spreadsheets. Fair enough, I'll grant that. And it'll continue running. And so now it's complete. And you see the email or the attachment in effect shows up again. Now there's a bit of a problem. The email that it looked at here still has this in it, and so we don't actually know whether this really worked. So let's create another test email. And so I'll go and I'll just drop the same one more time, but Michael's lazy, so he just uses the same file again and again. Now, what's important is if I send this will actually go and look at the active version and execute that. And given it already sort of ran, I'd say it makes now sense we just activate that. That way we don't even have to test it. Or test it rather, we'll test it while it's active. You probably wouldn't do that if you were testing, if you had customers on this, but in this case, I think it's fine. And so we'll send this and let's see what happens next. So we should get an incoming email here soon. So this time I didn't actually specify anything, right? And so now it will show up under executions because the active workflow is the one that gets picked up. Okay, it found the folder. Let's see whether that actually has worked. And it has worked. And so you see how with a single prompt change, we effectively went from one system to another. There was obviously coding involved, but you and we didn't have to code. We just had to tell the system what it should do. And so now the customer onboarding process will basically be go in here and add a new email address and a folder name. Obviously, this could be further automated with other business processes, but this is just to show sort of the flexibility of the system that you can do without actually writing any code yourself. Thank you for watching.